Hey, we've got another mod for the Proton Pack, so we're gonna take a look at that for a little bit. So why don't we jump into it? Hey guys, welcome back to the AnKorage where everything is awesome, and we are going to play with the Proton Pack a little more today. I've got a mod that's going on with it, and I'll tell you a little bit about it. And before we get started, make sure you subscribe, throw that like, and throw a comment down below. Let me know, give me some ideas on anything that you might want to see, and I can take a look to see if it might be something I can do. So what we've got is I have these 3M padded, like double-sided tape like pads, and all I need is this little piece here. It's about the size of a little bigger than a micro SD card, and I'll show you why. And it's inside of this envelope. So why don't we open up the envelope and see what we've got for a thing. We have a static-proof baggie. Alright, here we go. Oh, what's this? Well, here's that little PCB, which is a printed circuit board, PCB, and this is going to get stuck to this. You see the size of it there? That's why. This is going to be going into the Proton Pack, and we are going to be connecting this wire to the circuit board that's inside, and we'll also connect this switch to toggle on off. And what this is designed to do is that this is basically what we're calling a stay alive mod. And essentially what it does is that the Proton Pack has an onboard 3-minute timer. So what happens is after it runs for 3 minutes, it times out and shuts off. Now what this does is that this simulates a constant flow of power from the neutrino wand into the pack to say, hey, you know, even though the neutrino wand might be in use, don't shut off the pack, essentially. So you could have the neutrino wand running and have it time out, let it go ahead and time out on its own. I don't need it to stay on for my uses and stuff like that. It doesn't need to stay on forever because I don't want to kill the battery. Which, of course, the Proton Pack actually provides the power to the wand when they're connected. So I've got this so that I can use the vestigial switch that's in the center of the pack, stick this into it. This won't be poking out. It'll be the vestigial switch cover that's in the pack. This gets placed, the sticks inside of it, and I'll be able to put it back and forth. So there's a wire that's connected to the board inside the pack that will get connected into this guy right here. Power goes in, it gets fed through the couple of chips in here. There's a couple of ICs, or integrated circuits, and then the power gets fed out through here, which will get connected to the board inside, and it will remain on at all times, even though the neutrino wand may time out. That's okay. So we are going to jump in on that. Now I have to take the whole thing apart again. I have to take the Alice frame off. I have to take the motherboard off, which is that part that is like the back of it. They call it a motherboard. And get inside, and we'll get this connected. So why don't we go ahead and do that? Alright, as we can see here, I have removed the back of the pack, and if we just a quick little thing here, if we look at the ribbon cable here, and we look at the front of it here, on the very end, if I can get this to focus, we have a real ribbon cable. So this is real computer ribbon cable, and I think it might be IDE or something similar, but in either case. So when we come up here, we've got the actual motherboard, which is up in here. Now it's a little bigger than a credit card, so what we're going to do is we're going to remove one of these wires out of one of these spots. I think it's going to be the purple one. I could be wrong. And we're going to plug the other one in, and then I'll be taping the PCB over here. I'm taping it to that so it doesn't move. And then what I've gone and excuse me, I've removed the vestigial switch brace bracket or something like that. This is it, and it actually goes, if I can get this out of the way, goes right there. So let's look at that. Okay, so what I have here is I have that little board, and I have the sticky back. So I'm going to be putting the sticky back right on it, just like so. And we'll get this peeled off.
This backing, if I can.
There we go. Alright. So that's backed off, and now I just want to adhere this. We'll just slap it right, if I can get that. We're going to just put it right there. Okay, so now we need to take care of our wires. Okay, this thing's being really stinking picky. Oh, I couldn't get it to focus. It kept going vomp, 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 vomp like that. So I had to move it onto my chair in front of my computer station. So I've removed this power cable, which comes out from the wand and goes into the motherboard, into the purple socket here. So what we need to do is, here's the switch, put that off to the side, and we don't take that, where's the other one? There we go. So we take this switch piece right here, this wire, and it connects into that purple port. So if I can find it here, snap that in there, and then the purple gets plugged into the PCB right here. So I'll take care of that. It's keyed so it only goes in one way. Of course I've got it backwards. There. It is all like that. And then I have to take the switch, take this switch, and I attach it into the vestigial spot. Slide that in there in a minute. I have to stick the my light in my mouth to hold it. It sticks in there, but this is, I'm gonna have to do this part off camera, mainly because things aren't lining up and I can't see well with all these wires in the way. So I'm gonna do that off camera. So we'll have this all fixed up and back together for a test. Alright, the switch is in there, but there's no instructions on how to properly mount it. There is a nut and a lock washer on there, but it doesn't say how to actually use them. So I just had to play with it and come up with, I'm basically just going to say that I just had to come up with my own instructions and play around with it. And it does work, so I'm going to throw it. And the thing is that there's no, hear this click? That's me clicking it in one direction, but there's no click in the other direction. It just kind of mushes over there. So the switch isn't in such a way that allows for that click. That you really can't blame the folks that created the mod, but you can blame Hasbro for not really thinking this through completely. So I put that on Hasbro. So it does work. So we're going to continue on with the test. Okay, I've gotten all buttoned back up, and as you can see, I've got a stopwatch set up on my phone, although it just shut off. Turn that back on. There we are. And it's all buttoned up, just not screwed together because I've got one more mod to do. I'll be putting a gel right here and here to give it a little bit of an aged look. So what we're going to do is we're going to time to see how long if it goes beyond the timeout, which is 3 minutes. So let's give it a whirl. Okay, that timed out after 3 minutes. So I've got the wrong part of the switch going on, so let's change that. Something very curious is that when I take that switch and I move it to the right and it's powered down, it will fire up on its own. And it's not supposed to. Now mind you, the neutrino wand is not currently plugged in. But if I turn it on and shut it off, it shuts off, and then a moment later it turns back on. Not supposed to happen. That may be a design flaw. So now I'm going to connect the neutrino wand and we'll see what kind of effect that has. Okay, the neutrino wand is plugged in, as you can see down there. So it's currently in stay alive mode, so we'll turn it on and off. Okay, that worked. So now I'm going to flick the switch to the right and we'll see what happens. Turns right on. Alright, so now I'm going to turn on the main breaker or the switch and shut it off and see if it comes back on. It's off and see if it comes back. It comes right back on. That may be a design flaw, which means that in order to get the pack to turn off and stay off, you have to put it in stay alive mode in order for that to work. So essentially, it makes that switch pointless. It's moot. There's no need for it. And of course you switch it back to stay alive mode and it shuts off. So there we go. So there we are. So that is my modding and review of sorts of that particular mod, the Stay Alive mod for the Proton Pack. And so I give it a whopping 3 stars. That's awesome. That's very good. They did a very good job on achieving the goal of a Stay Alive. So when it's in Stay Alive mode, it stays alive. It does exactly that. But when you take it out of stay alive mode and you're using the vestigial switch that's on the pack, it doesn't work. It just kind of turns off, and then a moment later it just turns right back on. So there's a design flaw in there somewhere. There's no instructions on how to properly mount that switch in that vestigial switch mount. So that's on them in that respect. How to properly insert it, attach it to the mount, and getting the mount back into the pack properly so that you get a snap and a snap. But now you've got a snap to the right, and you've got mush pushing it to the left. You know, if you turned the switch around inside the mount, you'd get the same effect. You'd get a snap to the right and mush to the left, and so you still have the same problem regardless. So that was that, and I've got one more mod I got to do. It's like what I was showing you. I've got a gel of sorts. It's a vinyl decal that's going to go onto the smoky quartz acrylic on that blue power meter thingy, or the cycler for the power cell. So I've got that going on. So and that will be the final modification to this pack, and I'll be all ready to go for Halloween next year. I've got my suit, I've got my utility belt, I've got the pack, and I'm ready to do some New Hampshire ghost busting, and we're gonna have fun with that. So give this a like, subscribe, donate some crypto if you wish, and we will catch you in the next video. So thank you very much, and Skál.